welcome to Rust Archipelago Breakout, the Philippine first Grassroots Rust Conference. If hindi ka pa nakapag-register at the back, you can go and register, grab some coffee, network, and feel free to explore the venue. You can connect with our fellow attendants. And get ready because we're gonna learn a lot of skill from the Rust speaker. See you all in the main hall. And again, we have a grazing table at the back. You can get whatever food you like. We have a drinks here, donuts, burger, and a lot more. You can get anytime. Searching at Rust Archipelago. Alright, we're absolutely thrilled to see so many passionate developer and tech enthusiasts here today. You can now settle down and get your seat because we're about to start. While waiting, you can follow us on our LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, by searching at Rust Archipelago. See you in a bit.
Like come and him no want go home. Night and day, gyal a ring out the phone.
Good day, everyone! Welcome to Rust Archipelago Breakout, the Philippine first Grassroots Rust conference. We're absolutely thrilled to see so many passionate developers and tech enthusiasts here today. So get your seat. While getting seat, you can grab some food at the back and settle down because we're about to start in 10 minutes. See you all in the main hall. While getting your seat, you can check our LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at Rust Archipelago. See you in a bit! Seven minutes left and we're gonna learn a lot more from our three speakers. See you in a bit. If you're looking for our restroom, you can go in the front left side. If you're looking for a food, you can go you can have your snack at our snack bar at the back. Thank you. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat and we're about to start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Magandang hapon! Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. I hope na okay na kayo at kilala mo na yung katabi mo. Sabihin mo sa katabi mo, kamusta? Sabihin mo ulit sa katabi mo, eto na to. Ayan. Kasi eto na to. Eto na talaga to na handa na ba kayong i-boost yung skill nyo sa Rust? Kung wala kang idea ng Rust, eto na din ito para malaman mo ano nga ba ang Rust. Kaya, welcome to Rust Archipelago Breakout, the Philippine first Grassroots Rust Conference. At you are making history. Kasi bakit kamo? Kasi kauna-unahan po itong Rust Conference sa Philippines. Handa na ba kayo? Ang lakas! Alright, sige. Hindi ko na patatagalin. I'm Joyce Teljosa, your host tonight. Tonight, yeah. Kasi I'm pumped to, malaman yung mga sasabihin ng speakers natin. Kasi we have 3 speakers. Hindi 1, hindi 2, kundi 3. Ibig sabihin, 3 magagaling, 3 grabe na experience pagdating sa Rust. Kaya kung ikaw na-inspire ka maging developer, na-inspire ka pumasok sa industry to, sa framework na to, eto na to. Sabihin mo rin sa katabi mo, eto na to. Alright, palakpakan natin ang sarili natin kasi alam kong marami kayong ginagawa pero pinili nyo pumunta dito. Para saan? Para uli kay Rust Archipelago Breakout. And hindi ko na patatagalin kasi I'm honored to introduce a seasoned software engineer with over 11 years of expertise in web and software development. And proficient siya sa Microsoft technology. A newcomer to AI, he excelled in technical architecture, automation, cloud solution, DevSecOps, and agile project management. Driving innovation, delivering transformative results. He is currently a senior developer at Full Scale and co-lead of DevCon Studio, who will share some exciting news about DevCon. Let's welcome RJ Ramirez.
Check. All right, yeah. Yo, welcome everyone. We're thrilled to be part of this Grassroots conference, actually. So, yeah, I'm RJ Ramirez, Senior Developer for Full Scale. Next, please. Sorry, do I have slides pala? Yan. So, what is DevCon? So, DevCon is essentially, if you have Red Cross for blood, DevCon is for IT people. So, simple said, we are now 11 active chapters across the Philippines. Nasaan ba probinsya nyo? Meron ba dyan? For CDO, Iloilo, Cebu, CDO, Bukidnon, Iligan, Davao, Pampanga, Manila, Laguna, and Legazpi. Alright, so we are there for the largest community of IT students, professional developers, and tech enthusiasts. Alright? Next. Alright, so geeks, developers, technologists, and enthusiasts. And ngayon, ang tawag sa inyo, mga prompt engineers, AI engineers, Rust, rockstars maybe. So, there we go. Oh. Alright, so it was founded by WD, or Winston Damarillo, founder of 3 acquired Silicon Valley startups, WEF, alumni, successful venture capitalist for Intel and PLDT, together with 7 IPOs. And a thought leader in digital transformation. DevCon as of 2024, 15 years already in the Philippines with 11 active chapters, the largest community of developers and geeks in the Philippines. So we have reach of at least 1 million in terms of online content and media coverage. There are 140 offline events nationwide through our chapters. And what else? 10 new location reach. Yan, kung gusto nyo pumunta ng Baguio, ng Mindoro, Tacloban, even Marawi, puntahan natin. We are reaching out for the undeserved communities and teach from kids, yun yung DevCon Kids, and later, yan, I'll be sharing more about our programs. All right, so we are, DevCon in its role is, we're like the middle of anything in those industries. So there's a say for academia, yan, kanina mga na-meet ko students, DevCon is holding events for campuses such as Campus DevCon. Then for the industry, we are working with the industry for creating new innovations. Then we're also a government and global partner for these agencies. And of course, communities, we are supporting each and every communities here in the Philippines. We have the PH Tech community, and these are the following user groups that were already recognized. Hopefully soon, our Rust user groups will emerge, and we are supporting the Rust Foundation and the Rust users here in the Philippines. And yeah, so DevCon's pioneering programs are this. DevCon Kids. So kids pa lang, nagko-code na sila. They're using microbit and block programming. So yun. Then for the campuses, we have the Campus DevCon. In part of DevCon Kids, we have DevCon for educators. So IT educators. Then of course, DevCon Pro, last 2023. So lahat lang ng mga pro yan, nandyan. Then of course, we are in partner with DOST. We're working towards climate resilient country. So we are supporting the climate resilience innovation. Memorandum of understanding together with DOST. So much that this one from Iloilo, Technology Go, they have a lot of initiatives in Visayas. And then, of course, last year, we held our Mindanao Tech Summit in Davao. Then, coming this March, every Women's Month, so she is DevCon. All right, and that's so much. So, we're also supporting the SDG by the UNDP. All right, DevCon is connecting you to the world of tech possibilities, such as this, Rust, no? There are a lot of opportunities, and we're helping DevCon, we are DevCon helping you to understand and be on board to whatever technology that is, and towards a digitally transformed Philippines for all. And this is the chapter presidents. It's on our website na lang. Then this is the HQ, National Office. So we have from the Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And next. And our present partner is with the ICP for the smart contracts. I believe we're using also Rust in this program. So we're deploying smart contracts through the students and professionals. So, and this year we'll be utilizing Rust as our technology of choice for developing ICP contracts. So upcoming, on June, there will be a conference, but on upcoming Feb 27, we'll have our Leaders Workshop. This is about the Climate Resilience Innovation Summit 2025. So it will be held in DLSU Manila. So we're inviting all climate builders and innovators to join the summit. And of course, yeah, DevCon Kids. This is international non-profit organization. So computer science for kids. Yan. And microbit. Then this one, Campus DevCon programs. We're coming to your schools to and invite speakers, to experts to talk about career and all emerging technologies. So just invite us in DevCon Manila or the nearest chapter in your city. Okay, then you can also partner with us, DevCon Philippines. Just email us at hello@devcon.ph. Again, DevCon, empowering geeks, empowering the planet. We are 15 years already in the Philippines. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Sir RJ. Oh, wait lang po. Question lang po. Paano sila magre-register kapag gusto na nilang umattend kay She is DevCon and yung palapit na next week?
Sure. Plug ko lang muna. We have created a program, DevCon Studios. So, medyo marami kaming page kasi. Pero, since we're in Manila, just like DevCon Manila and DevCon Studios, there we are posting mga events in Manila. But if you're outside Metro Manila, find the nearest chapter, such as our newest one is in Pampanga. So if you are interested in joining or volunteering for events in Pampanga, then you can message DevCon Pampanga.
Ayan, thank you, Sir RJ. So, ayun, before you go down, we will just present you a token of gratitude, no? And thank you for inviting us sa DevCon na mga event. Ayan, you can see them around the Philippines. Ayan, let me just call on Mark Cabale, our main sponsor representative, to represent Sir RJ with Certificate of Appreciation and a token of gratitude. Ayun. The certificate is a recognition of your invaluable contribution as a speaker at the Rust Archipelago Breakout held on February 22, 2025 at Tier 1 Entertainment Headquarters, Quezon City, Philippines. Your insight and opening remarks have greatly enriched our audience and contribute to success of this event. Thank you, Sir RJ. Yan, picture lang po tayo. Thank you po. Ayan, so mga tao, sa mga nandito na interested sa DevCon or anything about DevCon, you can reach out sa Facebook account, Instagram. I think meron din silang YouTube and LinkedIn. Ayan, you can get some info. You can follow them. And ready na ba kayo? Ito na, mag-i-start na tayo at tatawagan na natin ang first speaker natin. Bago tayo magsimula sa first speaker, sabihin mo uli sa katabi mo, eto na to. Alright. Our first speaker is true expert in the field of runtime and protocol engineering. He is currently a tech lead and a senior runtime and a protocol engineer at leading Solana Layer 2, Sonic SVM, and has a wealth of knowledge to share us. If we will be described him in one single sentence, he loves fat, juicy arcs. And hindi na natin patatagalin. Please give a warm welcome to Christian K. Rapaz, who will be speaking Rust for Blockchain.
Demographic check. Let's fix the lapel. So let's do a quick demographic check. I want to know who does Rust or programs in Rust, even as a hobby. Raise your hand. Raise it up, raise it up. Okay, so half of the room. Who's here because they want to know what opportunities exist for Rust? Okay, so majority of you. So this informs me that when I do my talk today, we're going to focus on opportunities that exist in Rust. That's good? Okay, so Give me a moment. I'll fix my lapel. Because I wanna deliver information to you as best as we can. That's why we wanna fix the lapel and make sure na goods. Alright, so. Alright. When Joyce, our host today, mentioned fat, juicy arcs, who got that? One. Okay, that's good. That's good. It makes me hopeful because at least one of you got what I meant. Because today, I'm going to talk about fat, juicy arcs
Medyo malayo ata
simplified.
yung sa bibig.
All right? So everybody say fat, juicy arcs. Fat, juicy arcs. Everybody say fat, juicy arcs. Fat, juicy arcs. Okay. Intro. Rust sucks. Right? Rust sucks. If I didn't know better. Okay? But because we know better in today's event, in the first Grassroots conference for Rust in the Philippines, I want to onboard you on the knowledge of why Rust doesn't suck and why Rust is something you can leverage in the future to come as technologists, tech enthusiasts, as students who are going to graduate, or as interns who want to get into the field. Because we have interns here from a company that we're partnered with, and they want to learn all about tech and engineering. Ha! Bet you thought that was real. Got him. Right? So let me tell you a story. Rust is known for its steep learning curve. Who heard this? Who knows this? When we say steep learning curve, it's hard, it's difficult. So we have one here, we have half here. But in reality, it's actually not steep. In reality, Rust's learning curve isn't straightforward because it's steep. When you think you already know enough about Rust, it's going to hit you and tell you, no, you don't know. But even then, it. Because Rust being something that's not straightforward to learn, allows you to set yourself apart. If you put your heart and soul into learning Rust, if you get good at Rust, people will know you're good at Rust. And people will go to you because you're good in Rust. Known as our hot-headed buddy. Everybody say, hot-headed buddy. Hot-headed buddy. Anyone know why? Guesses? What? Hot-headed. So, whatever program in Rust, it's always gonna shout at you with errors. It's very strict. Lagi yung may ibabato yung value mo. Okay? It's always gonna. That's why it's a hot body, because it's always gonna shout at you if you're. So you can imagine, it's kind of frustrating to have someone who's always shouting at you, telling you you're wrong. Right? You feel as though you're really good, you're an expert, you're a pro, and then suddenly you're wrong. I know this, you are wrong. Okay? But you know what drawn me to Rust, despite it being something that constantly shouts at you? Everybody say, ask why. Because one day, I was programming in JavaScript, not Rust. And then, suddenly, while I was coding, I very that Rust say is that you need to be exhaustive. When we say exhaustive, you need to cover all cases. If else, every case you need to cover. In JavaScript, it's not going to shout at you if you didn't cover all cases. So when I was coding in JavaScript, I remember, Rust is shouting. So for Rust users, could you tell me, raise your hand if you know what this is? What's your name? Victor. Victor, what is this? It's an enum. And you can notice that in Rust, in our enum in Rust, it says, everybody count? 1, 2, 3. And yet, at the bottom, Rust is complaining, as you can see the red line here. Why do you think so? Any guesses? Here. Any guesses? Why is Rust complaining? It's okay if you're wrong. Just try. Any guesses on this end? What's your name? Wendell said, hindi niya cover lahat. He didn't cover everything. He only covered what? 1, 2. But the enum said it has. Rust was shouting, you're not exhaustive. And this is Rust. It's going to complain at you if you're wrong. No matter how good you feel, no matter how dog you feel, it's going to say, you're wrong, brother. Fix that. Okay? And this is an example. He's going to say, missing match arm. 3, not covered. And this is the baseline of Rust. It's going to complain. So even if you're coding in JS, there's this faint aura of Rust talking to me. He said, oh, I'm coding in JS, if, else, if. I need to be exhaustive. Right? Because Rust taught me I need to be exhaustive. So it carried over to JavaScript. I wasn't using Rust, I was using JavaScript. And yet, the way Rust taught me how to think enabled me to think better when I'm programming systems. Take this example. It says here, send sync arc mutate dyn t. Wow, so intimidating. But if we summarize this, it simply means thread safety. When we say thread safety, it means you should allow it to be used in multiple contexts. Kayong tumatakbo na execution, kailangan sa lahat ng walang conflict. That is thread safety. Now, I was programming in JS ulit. And then at the back of my mind, I was working with async functions in Rust. Who knows async functions in JavaScript? Async functions in JavaScript. Raise your hand. Right? And then I was thinking to myself, I have to be safe. Once again, Rust carried over to JavaScript. So what's my point? My point is simple. Rust teaches you how to think about your code. Everybody say, think. One more time. Think. It's so strict that it elevates you to a higher level of consciousness. Meaning, when you're coding, you're not just mindless. Because your experience with Rust allowed you that, I need to be exhaustive. I need to be thread safe. And that's why for half a decade now, I have been programming in Rust exclusively. Specifically, everybody say, Rust for blockchain. One more time. Rust for blockchain. So today, I'm going to share to you guys what opportunities exist for Rust in blockchain technology and what do I do exactly. The assumption is not exhaustive examples. I want to give you guys simple examples you can understand. And another assumption I'm going to give you is that I'm speaking in English majority of the time because we are sponsored by Rust Foundation, we are streamed, and we want them to be able to understand what we're talking about. So, from time to time, magtatagalog tayo. That's good. When magtatagalog tayo. But for the most part, I'll use English. That understood? Good? Okay. So, Rust for blockchain. There are 4 things that I usually work on when I do Rust for blockchain. And I list this down because if you understand how to do CLI, backend, you understand how to do smart contracts or protocols and blockchain, you have work with Rust. You can specialize in creating CLI tooling with Rust. That's okay. Find a company that does that. You can specialize in backend for Rust. That's okay. Find a company that specializes in. So let's start with CLI, right? Everybody say CLI. You guys need to steal your. Still with me? Papunta pa lang tayo sa exciting part. Okay? We're gonna go deeper. It's gonna be painful. But I'll do my best to communicate it as best that I can. Alright? CLI. With CLIs. Yeah, majority of CLIs. For example, recently, a CLI tool that allows chain on the blockchain. So that's one of the. And the crate is clap. Say clap RS. Who knows clap RS? Yeah, we know. Okay. So another thing is backend. Who does backend? And we that we're getting more on the side, right? I'm really happy you guys are starting to get into this. So backend. Recently, I a backend that allows you to claim simple stuff. You can use access we can or work that we can do with Rust. CLI. What's the second one? Backend. So are you starting to feel that you can do something with Rust? Are you starting to feel that this is a career you can pursue? Right? So if you know backend, let's say you do backend in JS. Heck, if you do backend in Python, you can do backend in Rust because you understand the concepts of engineering. If you can create APIs with Python, you can create APIs with Rust. It only takes what? Starts with the letter P. Practice. That's it. If you can do backend APIs in any language, you can do it in Rust. So third use case, smart contracts. Anyone familiar with contracts? Assume this is something you're curious about because I've heard you want to know about crypto and Rust, how it relates to blockchain technology. And I'm happy to tell you that you can use Rust to build smart contracts. Smart contract is just being a program that is not deployed on a server, deployed on a. Yun lang yun. Pag sinabi mong smart contracts, program lang yan na hindi mo dineploy sa web server. Dineploy mo sa blockchain. Alright? So that's the only difference. Language. Chain. And before I started working on protocols and networks, I used to work with smart contracts heavily. And when it comes to smart contracts kasi, are you familiar with wanna know why? Crypto is what? Finance. Crypto. you interact with the server, you use your server usage. But when you interact with your, let's say, smart contract, you use crypto as a gas fee. So you spend money. So the risk is higher. Right? Okay? The last thing that you can work on, if let's say, for example, you don't like CLIs, you don't like backend, you don't like smart contracts in blockchain, right? You can also do blockchains themselves and protocols. Ito yung networks na mismo. Yung mismong blockchain, gagawin nyo na siya. Hindi lang yung program na ide-deploy nyo, but yung mismong network na. So, give me a name of a blockchain network. If you can give me a name of one, we will give you a Rust Archipelago limited edition merch. Right now. So, who can name one? You guys are the Siege. Sige, let's do two. So, Polygon Network, please give Siege a shirt. Siege, please get your shirt later. Isa pa, dito naman. What's your name? Rob, okay. What network? Ethereum. Okay, so may t-shirt ka rin. So, Polygon, and then Ethereum. Right? When you do protocol and blockchain, you build those. You don't just build the smart contracts. Yun na mismo, bibuild mo. So kung gumawa ka ng blockchain, pinangalan mo hotdog chain, pwede. Pwede, kasi marunong ka na eh. Right? And this is an example of a node that I recently built. Specifically, a node, isipin nyo ang blockchain network, ano yun eh, parang nagmi-meeting kayo, right? Nagmi-meeting kayo para mag-agree kayo. And bawat isang device sa network na to, ang pangalan dyan, node. So you call this a node. And in a network, there's multiple nodes interacting with each other because they have to talk. They have to have a meeting. Now, everybody say, exciting part. So tapos na tayo dun sa part where you guys know what jobs and opportunities you can pursue, especially you guys, because I know you're getting into the industry, you're starting to train yourself as interns. Now let's go to the hard part. Everybody say, hard part. This is hard because I'm gonna go deep into Rust. Like painfully deep. Okay? So steal your hearts, steal your souls. Let's get it. Let's build a node in Rust. How do you think about going when you're building a Rust node purely? Right? Typically, people default to an SDK called Polkadot SDK. So Polkadot SDK, para siyang framework to build a blockchain. Right? It helps you a lot. But it's too overkill for a use case. Today, we're just gonna create without a framework and purely in Rust. Specifically, we're gonna create an L2 or a rollup sequencer node. You don't have to understand that. Just know that it's a node. Okay? Everybody, just say node. Okay? And typically, a rollup sequencer node is just one. So isa lang siya. Alright? So we're not gonna use frameworks because it's overkill. You only need one node. Okay na? Okay. So okay na daw yung lapel, thank God, right? Okay. So what is a node? The structure of a node is, isipin nyo para siyang app. Think of it as an app with different layers. Give me a layer of a web app. Right? It's usually two things. Give me one layer for a web app. I want on this side naman. On this side, give me a layer for a web app. It's usually and layer for a web app. Okay, from the left side, go. Front end. Right? What's the other layer? Any guesses? Back end. Wow! we learned something new, right? Front end, back end. So in nodes, it's not different. It's not different. You have layers, but the difference is you have big, massive, hard layers because they do more than what front end and back end would usually do. And it's way more complicated because the size of the app you need to build is really. Okay, so it can be just one layer if you want that. Is it even a layer if it's just one? You can do 2, 3, 4. You can do 100 layers if you want, as many as you want, as long as they are different layers. Different layers of behavior. So for example, in apps, we say front end, it's usually what? Any guesses from this side? What's your name? Dwayne, guess. User interface. So that layer in Web 2 or in a web app is responsible for your user interface. How about the back end? What is it responsible for? In this side again. Any guesses? Processing APIs. Pag sinabi nating APIs, ano siya usually? What does API mean? Oh, from this side. Sige, go. From this side. When we say API, what is it? The guy behind you, Pat.
Serves data back and forth.
So, you process data somewhere in the world. Let's just put it like that, okay? So those are two different behaviors. One is for UI, one is for processing data. So we have two layers, usually, for web apps. Let's take a node. How many layers would we usually have for a node? Typically, for a sequencer node, or a roll-up node, okay, we have 4 layers. And this is the simple version. There are more layers than this, but I'll give you the simplified version because I don't want to blow your heads for today. I want you to go home alive, okay? Everybody, it's okay? Okay. So usually, there's a runner. There's something you need to call so that the node runs. Typically, it's done via a CLI architecture. And then there's routing. Usually, you need to talk to the node, and it can be done in different ways. What are the common ways to talk to a backend? Starts with the letter R. Rhymes with sleep. Anyone from this side again? Rest. Right? Rest. Isa pa, what else? What other ways can we talk to a backend? Starts with a W. I already hear it. Come on, say it. WebSockets, right? So we have a runner, we can run the node, we have routing, we can send data inside, we can send data outside, or you can send data internally, you can route data internally. Now we have what? Sequencing. What do we usually send to a blockchain node? Any ideas? What data? Starts with the letter T. Allen? Timestamp? Anyone? Starts with the letter T. Transaction. Wow. Oh my God. I love that. Ang lakas lang dito. Like I've heard people say transactions. So we send transactions to a blockchain node. In a rollup, the layer that receives that is what layer? Any guesses? The routing layer, of course. Right? Because you need to send the data first to the node before you go to the sequencing. Okay? So, you send data to the routing layer sends it to the sequencing layer, and then the sequencing layer orders your transaction. Right? So, I'll send you a transaction, and then I'll order it. That's why it's called, everybody, 1, 2, 3. What's that? I can hear you. Beautiful. Okay? Now, of course, typically in a web app, we need what? Starts with the letter D. A database. So for a node, it makes sense to also have a storage layer. So you see, these concepts are very basic. It seems like they're hard, but you guys already know what they are. So the point that I'm making here in this slide is that they may sound intimidating. Wow, you have a sequencing layer. Sounds so beautiful. I sound like a text expert. Beautiful. But you already know the concepts. It's just the data at my app, sequencing. So the point is, every single one of you are equally capable of using Rust to build any of the 4 use cases I gave you. And all you need to do is start. And I'm reassuring you that there is room for every single one of you in Rust. Okay? So I hope it's making sense now, okay? So now, I want to show you, yun, may laser. Can you guys see the laser? Wow, so visible. So I'll just point, right? This is an example specs of one of our nodes. For context, look at the memory size, guys. It's 1,952 watt. Because the requirement of a node is so big. So this gives you a perspective on how big a node is and how much work there is. So laki. Very big, very huge. So typically, when you start building a web app, you start designing a web app, what do you usually reflect on? Starts with the letter T. It's very hard. You wouldn't know it. It's not visible anywhere. It starts with the letter T. Everybody? Trade-offs. Because when you build a system, you want to understand what's my problem and what trade-offs do I need to take on such that I solve my problem. For example, right? You have a piece that is a letter C. Can you fit a square in this piece? Yes or no? Can you fit a square perfectly? No, because it's a curve, right? You need something curved. So you need to design in such a way that it's also a curve, so that your solution match your problem. Else you're not solving anything. So you need to start thinking trade-offs. Okay, so when you design a node, you need to start thinking, okay, how big is my node? What type of data do I receive? How fast do I want it to be? How many nodes should I spin up and deploy? Okay? Today, I'm going to give you 2 concepts. And I'm going to go at them quick because we only have 5 minutes. Can I extend for 5 more? Is it okay? So let's do 10? Okay? Okay. So I'm going to ask for 5 more because I want to take this a bit slow. Monomorphic versus polymorphic. It's a concept in Rust where you decide if you want your code to be statically dispatched, meaning, do you want all data types to be known at compile time? Compile time is the time you compile. Okay? Or do you want it to be dynamically dispatched? When we say dynamically dispatched, polymorphic, multiple forms, you don't know the types at compile time, but you know it when you run it, which is called runtime. Okay? So these are very important topics that I'm going to give to you guys. And the last, I want to compare 2 architectural decisions when you're building a node. The first one is that fat, juicy arcs. Everybody say, fat, juicy arcs. One more time. Fat, juicy arcs. Versus snacky arcs. So the difference is a fat and juicy arc is big. A snacky arc is snacky. Very small. So monomorphism versus polymorphism, also known as static dispatch versus dynamic dispatch. If you don't get it now, don't worry, you're not going to get it too in the other slides. No, just kidding. You will. You will. Imagine you have an animal with 3 forms. A cat, dog, bird. Everybody say cat, dog, bird. How does a cat speak? How does a dog speak? How does a bird speak? Magugulat ako pag narinig ko dyan a bird, bark, bark, bark. Okay? So that means all these 3 have different ways of speaking. Meaning their types are different because they have different behaviors. Okay? So let's say we have a trait. A trait in Rust is, let's just put it as behavior. If you have a trait, you want to attach behavior to something. Right? So if you want to attach a speaking behavior to something, you use a trait named speak. And let's approach this monomorphically, monomorphism. If you do monomorphism, it means you want all data types to be known at compile time. Meaning, ahead of time, you already define all of it ahead. Simple as that. All right? So, this means if we want to define 3 different behaviors or types of an animal, we need to define each for cat, dog, bird, because they are different animals with different behaviors. And that is monomorphism. Ahead of time, we've already defined everything ahead. Ahead. Ahead, shoulders, knees and toes, okay? So your types must be known at compile time. And that's called static dispatch. Wow! Ganda, like, pogi no term. Static dispatch. So you go into an interview. Yes, I know how to do static dispatch, dynamic dispatch. I know how to do monomorphism. And then, yun pala, it's just knowing your types ahead. Monomorphism, right? Static dispatch. Cool. Next is polymorphism. Any guesses what polymorphism is? Thought so. Okay? Instead of defining everything ahead, like kanina, right, we implement the behaviors for each type, but look at this. Compare this with the previous slide. We have to define each one, cat, dog, bird. But for this one, we only defined one list of pets for multiple types. Okay, and then the type is box, dine, speak. What you're saying here in this part is that you want something that has a speaking behavior, but you don't know what it is exactly. Is it a cat, a dog, a bird? But the only thing you know at compile time is that it speaks. Polymorphism. Right? So types are determined at runtime. Dynamic dispatch. Woo! Beautiful. And then if you do Rust, usually if you call dynamic dispatch, you see this word dyn. If you see that, let's say you're in an interview and then you see dyn, you said dynamic dispatch. Right? That is dynamic dispatch. Okay? So, when we're building a node, these are the benefits based on Grok 3. These are the benefits of monomorphism or static dispatch versus polymorphism, dynamic dispatch. Let's go over each one. Runtime overhead, meaning this is the overhead or cost that you take on when you run it. For static dispatch, we have none. For polymorphic dispatch, we have something called vtable lookup. For binary size monomorphism, it's what? It starts with the letter L, larger. Why do you think that is? Any guesses? Why is it larger? Da. Do you have any guess? Why is static dispatch larger in binary size? Sige, ikaw na lang, go.
Kasi, well, code in the case na kasi you're parang explicitly stating yung parang
right? Because you explicitly said cat, dog, bird. So it's bigger, because from compile time, you already know cat, dog, bird. Polymorphism, it's smaller because you don't have to define it ahead. You can just say it speaks, but you don't know if it's a cat, dog, bird. Okay? Compile time, it's potentially longer once again because it's larger, because you repeat. For dynamic dispatch, it's faster in compile time because you don't have to repeat your code. Optimization potential for static dispatch, high. For dynamic dispatch, is limited. Okay, so what's the point here? We're building a node, right? It's decision time. This is the time we finally finalize our design, all right? Our design for our code. Based on these specs, these trade-offs, which would you use if you're building a node? Any guesses? Any tries? Okay, I'll give you guys time to look at it. What do you guys think? Static dispatch, monomorphism, or dynamic dispatch, polymorphism? Basi. Beautiful. So, he said if you have a finite set, meaning a limited set of data types, it's good to use static dispatch. And I agree with that. Now, in blockchain, it's very important to be what we call deterministic, meaning as much as possible, we need to know everything ahead of time because we're using money. We're losing money if you make mistakes. So naturally, we want to use static dispatch because it's faster when it's running. Oh, sure, the binary is larger, but we have, remember, how many gigs did we have in the specs a while ago? Really large. We have space for it. Compile time, sure, we can wait for the compile. It's not like we care about it. We can wait. We can compile it for a long time. And then optimization potential is high because you want to, for example, you send the money to your friend abroad, you want it to be as fast as possible, right? So the answer is static dispatch. When you're building a node, when I built a node, I opted for static dispatch for these reasons. How many minutes do we have left? Okay, so I'm gonna finalize my talk in this slide, tapos daanan na lang natin yung natitira. So visualize, static dispatch is this. What do you notice? Any observations? Static dispatch? On the side, any? Come, I hear someone talking. Say it. Huh? Okay, go.
Fix po yung pagkakagawa po sa kanya.
So it's fixed. And the binary is larger because you repeated cat twice. But in dynamic dispatch, look at this. We needed to speak cat here, but we only pointed to this data called vtable. So we point to cat. The second time we point to dog. The second time we point to cat again. And what does this mean? You didn't have to repeat it. So it's smaller. Okay? So I'll end my talk here because we have a separate section that would most likely take 2 hours more. All right? But I'll go over the slides so you can see what it looks like. See, we're not yet out of the... I told you guys, it's gonna be deadly. Okay, so that's it. Everyone, this is my LinkedIn. I know we weren't able to go through the entire slides, but you can follow me on LinkedIn, send me a message, ask me about career questions, ask me about Rust. I'm all for it because I want to support every single one of you. With what language? Any guesses? What's that? Rust. So thank you once again. My name is Christian, and this is Rust for Blockchain and Rust Archipelago.
Wow, grabe yun. Medyo mind blow. Thanks, Christian. You can stay here. You can stay here. You can stay here. Ayan.
Really long.
Sino yung medyo nahilo-hilo dyan? Wala naman, no? Pero grabe yung binigay niyang insight sa atin. Thank you, Christian, ha? Kasi for the first, lalo na sa mga baguhan, it's really eye-opener na, okay, si Ras pala ay, medyo, yun nga, baka sucks nga. And ayan, thank you for, giving us, knowledge about Rust. And we would like to appreciate you for giving you a token of appreciation. So, this certificate is in recognition of your invaluable contribution as a speaker at Rust Archipelago Breakout held on February 22, 2025, our Tier 1 Entertainment Headquarters, Quezon City, Philippines. Your insight presentation on Rust for Blockchain has greatly enriched our audience and contribute to the success of this event. Thank you so much, Christian. Grabe.
Alright, thank you guys.
Thank you. Palakpakan natin. Grabe, no? Napaka-insightful nung binigay niya sa ating knowledge. Kung alam nyo, nakilala ko si Christian like 2 years ago and isa ako sa mga na-train niya. And hindi po talaga ako host, no? Kung mapapansin nyo. Isa po akong UI UX designer. So as a UI UX designer, medyo naintindihan ko yung part, pero isa din sa mahalaga sa akin ay medyo magkaroon ng idea when it comes to development side. So ayan, sabihin mo sa katabi mo, ay fat, juicy arc. Sabihin mo, 1, 2, 3, go! Fat, juicy arc! And ayan, sino gusto ng limited t-shirt ng ating Rust Archipelago? Sino? Ang tawag dito, itong wags natin is super limited. Kaya, habang nagbe-break tayo, it's break time by the way. So habang nagbe-break tayo, it's raffle time. Ayan, magpa-flash lang tayo ng spinning wheel, name of wheel. And while doing our raffle, you can grab your snack at the back kasi medyo malapit siyang mawala. I-grab nyo na yung chance and pwede din kayong mag-CR dito sa back. Ayan. So habang yung iba nag-grab ng snack, na CR, pangalan na natin kung sino mananalo ng ating limited edition t-shirt raffle. Yan na! Ayun o! Congratulations, Patricia Luis Gueb! You can collect your t-shirt at the back sa may registration part. And we will get back at you at 5 minutes po. You can grab your snack, connect with people. Kilalanin mo yung katabi mo. Sabihin mo, anong industry ka, anong interested ka, at anong pangalan mo. Let's connect! I'll get back to you guys.
The gaming industry is broken. Game creators have always faced barriers, limited control, resources, and technology. Existing systems often suffocate innovation and give little to no chance of success for the majority of indie studios. But what if games could be more? Imagine a world where players shape gameplay, expand universes, and mod new elements, creating immersive experiences. Autonomous worlds make that possible. Yet, challenges remain, limiting innovation and growth. Sovereign breaks down these barriers, unlocking limitless game experiences, where anyone can create, modify, and evolve games without constraints. Infinite scalability, infinite possibilities. Build with Sovereign. The gaming industry is broken.
Test, test. Okay.
Ready ka na?
Yeah. Sige. I'll wait.
The gaming industry is broken. Game creators have always faced barriers, limited control, resources, and technology. Existing systems often suffocate innovation and give little to no chance of success for the majority of indie studios. But what if games could be more? Imagine a world where players shape gameplay, expand universes, and mod new elements, creating immersive experiences. Autonomous worlds make that possible. Yet, challenges remain, limiting innovation and growth. Sovereign breaks down these barriers, unlocking limitless game experiences, where anyone can create, modify, and evolve games without constraints. Infinite scalability, infinite possibilities. Build with Sovereign.
Welcome back to Rust Archipelago Breakout, the Philippine First Grassroots Rust Conference. I hope kilala mo na yung nasa likod mo. I hope kilala mo din yung nasa harapan mo. And sana nakagrab ka na ng snack sa back. And ready na ba kayo sa next speaker? Ready na po ba kayo? And while we're waiting for next speaker, we can settle down na here para mag-ready na tayo sa next speaker kasi isa na naman po itong sobrang knowledgeable na na entry natin. And while we're waiting for everyone to sit back, to settle that, we would like also to thank our sponsor, community partners for making this event possible. Rust Foundation, Beat Rabbits, RR Tech, Shane Academy, and Sovereign. Thank you so much po sa pag-sponsor sa amin. And ayan, while waiting sa others na nandito, gusto ko sabihin mo sa kapatid mo, sa katabi mo, na eto na ulit ito! 1, 2, 3, go! Ayan, sige, narinig natin lahat. Hindi na natin patatagalan, no? Ayan. So, kung kanina, it's about Rust for blockchain. Ito naman, it's about Rust for gaming. Sino excited? Rust for gaming. Ito na to. Ito na to. So, ayan, let's welcome. Get ready for some AR magic. Sorry. Wait lang po. Sige, settle down lang po tayo for a second. I'll just get back po. Ayan, ito, totoo na talaga to. Totoo na, okay? Hindi natin patatagalan. Let's welcome a full stack engineer for Verden, from YC, is going to share expertise for Rust Gaming. He also, Verden, a YC, back-end startup based in UK that is building an innovative, sustainable as-a-service platform for tracking pledge and streamlining donation pipeline for thousands of customers, merchant, corporation, and charity all over. Ayan, let's welcome Sebastian Ortiz. Let's give him a round of applause.
Testing? Okay. Rinig naman all the way to the back? Good? Okay. So, I'm going to preface this talk immediately, no? Kasi you may be led to believe when we say Rust for gaming, pag-uusapan natin how do you make games in Rust mismo. Pero medyo I'm going to turn this on your head a bit because we're going to be talking about game servers instead. Hindi tayo gagawin ng, let's say, doing Rust with Unity or doing Rust with Godot. We're going to talk about game servers, and in particular, we're going to be talking about highly concurrent game servers with the actor model. So, does this button work? Yes, it is. So, hey guys, my name is Bas. I'm a full-stack engineer at a Y Combinator-backed startup based in the UK, where we build some sort of sustainability as a service, if you think about it. It's essentially a platform where we can gather all of our charities, our customers, and all the stakeholders in a business, and we can get them streamlined donation pipeline for everyone. So essentially, we're building like a sustainability as a service kind of platform. So if you've been in the web development space for a while now, you've probably seen some of my articles at the top of Google's search rankings. Kanwari ako, I'm better known in the Dev2 community as some dude, so I'm pretty sure that you probably encountered some of these articles at some point. And yeah, feel free to contact me through any of these links here if you want to talk to me about programming or anything. No? I'd be glad to entertain you. So, what are we going to talk about for today? Wait lang, nagano lang yung... So, what are we going to talk about for today? Syempre, sa simula, we're going to talk about the problem that we're trying to solve to begin with and how Rust fits into the picture of online multiplayer. Because this is like one of the more rare topics that are discussed in game dev. In fact, it's kind of like taboo kasi parang ganun siya kahirap gawin. Anyway, so I'm going to explain all of these bullets eventually, no? Pero just to give you like a bird's eye view of where we're going, eventually there's going to be some kind of game demo here na may parang game server talaga tayo. So I'm going to request that everyone who has some mobile data or some internet access right now, i-connect nyo na ngayon as early as possible para hindi tayo nag-scramble later on. Okay, let's start with the problem of online multiplayer. If we start with web servers, yung use case niya usually is a very simple request-response model na parang meron kang stateless, short-lived requests, and then in return, you're going to get a response in return. And unfortunately, yung status quo natin for these kinds of web servers is that we have slow, delayed responses. Where have you seen a website that loads instantly, diba? Unless you have like some sort of progressive web app or something. I don't know if you're into that. Pero the point is, medyo normal yung idea na meron tayong one-shot request and then we're going to eventually respond to it 3 seconds later, right? It's a normal thing. Meanwhile, if we were in the game server industry, we're talking about performance constraints where we have to respond to requests within the window of a single frame in a game, or maybe 2 frames, 3 frames, or if you're a fighting game, for example, kanwari Street Fighter or Tekken, you can't really afford to miss too many frames. Ay, sorry, napindot. Ay, never mind. My point here is, whenever you're dealing with a game server, hindi na siya simpleng request-response lang as you would in a web server. In a game server, you have long-lived, stateful sessions. And that's not easy to do, kasi by the very reason that we have to keep track of state. And ayun, skipped frames really hurt the session. Okay, so one thing that they do have in common though, like let's say web servers and game servers, is the constraint of high I/O concurrency. So let's think about it for a bit, no? Since network operations are I/O bound, ibig sabihin nun, yung CPU mo, like 99% of the time, is actually just going to stand there and doing nothing while waiting for some database to respond. So like if you think about it, yung mga Intel Core natin ngayon, we have like 2.6 gigahertz processor. So it means like 2 billion cycles, and it can run that in 1 second. Imagine if you had to wait for the database 3 seconds, ang dami mong CPU cycles na sayang dun. So ngayon, the key insights that we have for these concurrent systems, we don't have to wait for these I/O operations. We can do something else in the meantime. So in the context of a game server, for example, we could be servicing other requests, we could be computing physics, we could be computing game logic, and a whole bunch of other things in that 2.6 billion cycles that we do have. Parang sayang lang yung ginagawa natin kapag hinintay natin yung network or yung database for that. So, lucky for you though, yung buong talk na to is all about, actually, sorry, I forgot to mention this. This was actually one of the key insights din pala ni Ryan Dahl. If you're familiar with Node.js, if you've been into the web development space for a while now, you've probably used this technology at some point. Na-realize niya na although JavaScript is not really the fastest programming language out there, he realized that a lot of the server applications that we have in web servers don't actually need to be fast CPU-wise. We just need to be able to serve as many requests at the same time as much as possible. So even though JavaScript yung ginagamit natin sa Node.js, it's still a technology that can scale pretty far for your how many users, no? Kasi it can do things at the same time while waiting for other requests to finish. So, just to summarize yung constraints ng game server natin. A game server has extreme constraints on high concurrency and low latency I/O bound operations, right? And as well as, since we're computing physics, kung kanwari physics yung ginagawa mong game, or whatever heavy compute that you need to do, it also has to be fast with CPU-bound operations. So fortunately, fortunately for you, you are in a Rust conference right now, and what I'm going to show you right now is how we're going to use Rust to build highly concurrent game servers with the actor model. So we're going to go into what an actor model is eventually, pero first, unahin muna natin, how do we even run asynchronous tasks in Rust? And for that, the ecosystem has the Tokyo runtime for that. So Tokyo is the Rust ecosystem solution for highly concurrent I/O-bound systems. So for example, if you make a lot of network requests, if you go to the file system a lot, basically input-output systems, right? So yung ating Tokyo runtime is responsible for running what we call futures in Rust. A future is something that will eventually succeed or fail with some value. If you've dealt with JavaScript promises before, this is a very familiar concept. It's, for the sake of this talk, let's just say that they're equivalent. Pero may distinction yun between eager evaluation and lazy evaluation. No? Pero we're not going to go into that deep end. So, let's see how, hala na, hindi na-install yung font. Dapat pala in-embed ko yung font. Anyway, so here, we have what we call an async function in Rust. It kind of looks very familiar to an async function in JavaScript. And yung una natin ginagawa dito is that we have some HTTP client, kanwari, we're going to make some network request somewhere, and yung gusto natin gawin is to get this URL from somewhere. And if you notice at these points, kapag sinabi nating .await, ibig sabihin nun, these are specific points in the function where it can pause. These are particular places where we're possibly going to wait for a long time. So we have to signal to the Rust compiler that don't expect the result immediately. This is the point where we can actually have someone else interrupt us, and this is where this is the part where we can have concurrency. So anyway, one of the key insights that we have from this design is that a future kind of looks like a state machine. So this is not really a computer science class, pero I just want to illustrate here from the beginning na parang meron tayong initial state na ginagawa sa ating future, and now we have a step 1 after we finish the await point, and then my step 2, and then we have a done once the request is ready. And believe it or not, when things get compiled down at the compiler level, so this async function eventually becomes this enum over here. Sorry, nag-overlap ng konti yung text, but it's going to be an enum na meron tayong initial, step 1, step 2, and done. So we're going to get into this and why it's like designed this way. Pero just to show you yung overlap niya, just to show you the screen again, we have the step 1, and then we have the step 2, all in the same place. So if Rust compiles this into something that we call a future, this is essentially what it's going to look. It's going to be one huge state machine. So we're going to look at this in a very zoomed-in level. Specifically, let's start with self-initial muna, no? So self-initial here now looks really familiar. This is like the first 2 lines of our function from earlier. And notably, wala siyang await, but we're actually going to pause specifically at the http.get line over here. Biglang nawala din yung .await, and we're going to store yung kanyang future value dito sa ating step 1 variant ng ating enum. And this is what's going to store the intermediate computation. So let's say, gumagamit ka ng Linux, for example, to send off your HTTP request. Yung OS mo actually yung bahala sa pag-send ng request na yun. Pero as far as our Rust program is concerned, it's just going to wait for the OS to respond back to us. So in the meantime, let's store any information that's needed to remember that operation inside this future. So that's whatever is returned by http.get. And then yung trabaho na natin ngayon is to return poll pending, just to signal to Tokyo, kanwari, na hindi pa tayo tapos sa operation na to, and we can still keep going later on. The important thing to notice here is that yung self actually, we're trying to reassign it to a brand new state in our enum. And that's essentially what it means to be a state machine. Meron tayong different states, and we're transitioning them into different states whenever we're ready. So the next time that we call this function, yung mangyayari, mag-transition na tayo sa step 1. Hindi na tayo dun sa initial step. And ang gagawin natin dito is we're going to look at the future from earlier and we're going to check if it's ready. So dito yun sa second line, for example. Medyo macro yan, so maraming magic na mangyayari dyan. But I'm not going to go into those details kasi I really just want to show you guys a high-level overview of how a future works. So ayan, once the future is ready, now we invoke yung response.collectBody dito sa baba. And that's the part where we start streaming in the bytes from this HTTP request. And notice again that since we've completed the future, we're going to proceed to step 2. And that's the part where we're going to open self again and store the intermediate state of our future from earlier. And of course, since we're not yet done with our function, we're going to return poll pending. Great. Step 2. It's the same thing. Meron kang future na store somewhere and you're going to keep polling it until it's done. I mean, that's literally line number 3, no? So kapag tapos na yung future.poll na yan, we're going to reassign self to become done. And after that point, hindi na tayo poll pending, we're actually going to return a poll ready. And that's the final line that we have here, dun sa body.intoVec nung original function. And something that's like a very detail about this is that once we're in the done state, ang ginawa ko lang dito is we're going to panic. We're going to say na unreachable tong code na to because yung contract ng future sa Rust is that once they're complete, you don't really poll them again. So we kind of just panic here if ever it happens. It means may bug dun sa implementation natin. And that's not a bad thing to crash your program. In fact, really good thing that you crash in development versus crashing in production. So that's much better to deal with it right now. Okay, let's zoom out. That's what it looks like. But what I'm trying to tell you is that it's just one big fancy state machine. You go from one state to the next kapag natapos na yung async operation natin. But this begs the question, who's going to invoke yung poll function na to? Sino yung nagtatawag nung poll signature na yan? And yung sagot is, it's actually Tokyo. The Tokyo runtime will be responsible for running these futures to completion. So how that would look like is kind of how it's implemented as well in the JavaScript world. We have what we call an event loop. So whenever an asynchronous task gets enqueued, yung ginagawa ng Tokyo runtime is that it pulls the future until the next await point. And yung await point na yon is the place where we essentially pause state machine, right? And then for these asynchronous I/O operations, we kind of just go to sleep after that point. Parang while we're waiting for the operating system to give us a response, this task can go to sleep. And then once it's ready, the OS can wake up yung task na to, and we're going to put ourselves back into the event loop so that we can be polled again. No? And ulit-ulit lang yun hanggang matapos yung operation. You keep polling and you keep polling hanggang sa maging poll ready siya. So yeah, pretty basic in concept, no? So you have an async fn, and tuwing meron kang .await, that's essentially the point where you do a state transition and you pause the function's execution from that point. Okay, so in production though, or in practice, what we have is Tokyo runs a multi-threaded stealing executor. So it's basically, ibig sabihin nun, you have a whole bunch of tasks running everywhere, and then they can run across multiple threads. And even if you were single-threaded, the cool thing about it is that these tasks are multiplexed in the same thread. So parang even if you have sleeping tasks somewhere, you can just stow that away for now, and then you can start executing the next one that wants to be woken up. So even if you didn't have a multi-threaded thing happening, you can actually have concurrency anyway. And this is like exactly what we want for a game server. So we have a highly concurrent server with respect to IO-bound operations, and we have a fast programming language with respect to CPU-bound operations. You would want to apply some SIMD, for example, or some kind of other algorithmic optimizations. Okay, so how does Tokyo achieve all of this? Dito na tayo papasok sa tinatawag nating actor model. So the natural way to develop your systems when using the Tokyo runtime is using an actor model where each task, when I say task, that's your future essentially, we can think of them as some node in this graph right here. And interestingly, lahat ng mga nodes na yan, meron silang mga mailboxes. yung bawat mailboxes na yan is a place where we can send and receive messages from each other. And essentially, yan lang yung goal ng ating system. You have a whole bunch of messages that pass from one actor to the next, and that's how you make them to each other. These messages are what we call, these messages are facilitated using message channels dun sa Tokyo. We'll see that later. Pero if you're familiar with Go channels, it's a very similar concept as well. Okay, so as soon as an actor receives a message, yung trabaho niya is to process that message until completion, until it runs out of messages in its queue. And naturally, if you don't have anything in your box, the actor can just go to sleep. And in fact, if you don't have anything to do at all, everyone can just go to sleep, diba? So it's a very highly efficient system and a very highly parallelizable system as well. Because now you don't have to care about where your message comes from. As long as you keep processing and servicing these requests, you can spawn as many of these actors as you want and do as much work as you want. Okay. So how do we do this in Tokyo? Meron tayong tinatawag na Tokyo spawn. That's the way that we tasks. It's kind of like spawning a new thread where you have a separate branch of execution at that point that happens in parallel. Concurrently is the more correct term, ano? Pero the thing is, it's not like stood thread spawn, kasi Tokyo's tasks are more lightweight than OS threads. In fact, they're not threads at all. They're just tasks. They're futures, right? So if you're familiar with the concept of green threads or virtualized threads in Go, it's practically the same concept, no? So this abstraction here lets multiplex tasks, even on a single thread. Imagine if you have multiple threads na, suddenly your 8-core CPU can handle a whole bunch of requests at the same time concurrently, right? Pretty cool. So how would that look like? So we have a loop here. Kanwari meron tayong TCP listener, and yung trabaho niya lang is to keep looping until it connects to somebody. So ang ginagawa natin dito is when we receive a stream, we're going to throw that stream into the Tokyo spawn, and then siya na'y bahala sa pag-process ng message na yan, which is yung stream that we moved into there. Meanwhile, yung main actor natin goes here sa bottom of the loop and goes back to the top where it's going to accept new connections. And at the same time, our worker actor here will continue processing these bytes. So the interesting thing about this is suddenly we can do two things at the same time, where we can wait for new connections and we can wait for incoming bytes as many times as we need, right? So pretty cool. Now, we've mentioned earlier na meron tayong mailboxes sa actor model natin. Let's talk about how we implement that with Tokyo. So in Tokyo, we have 4 types of channels. Probably there's going to be more in the future, no? But the basic ones are your one-shot channel. As the name suggests, we only have one message that can pass through. We have multi-producer, single consumer channels, or MPSC, because I don't want to keep saying that, where you have like a many style of connection. And then you have a broadcast channel where you can have a many-to-many kind of communication. And you have a watcher channel, which is only responsible for notifying you whenever a certain value gets modified. But we're going to specifically focus on 2 of these kasi yun yung parang pinaka-relevant sa game servers. Specifically, the broadcast channel and the MPSC channels. If you notice, yung ating many-to-many use case sa ating broadcast channel can be simplified as a one-to-many problem. And suddenly, now we have a way to broadcast a system message to multiple sockets or TCP streams if you're talking to a different user. And then yung MPSC channel na rin is some way for us to take multiple messages from a whole bunch of clients and stuff them into some centralized hub. Diyan papasok yung use case for MPSC. And if we zoom out of this network topology, it kind of looks like the classic server authoritative model for all game servers out there. Sorry, not all, but most game servers out there. Na meron kang centralized server that handles all the logic, and you have a whole bunch of clients that's talking to the same server. We can use broadcast channels and MPSC channels for that. Okay? So just to show you some common patterns dun sa actor model natin, let's say you wanted to do a request-response model. Alice Ryle, the maintainer of Tokyo herself, had this very nice talk, very convenient kasi I can just like take the slide, na a very common pattern that you see with actors is that you have some actor on the left na parang meron kang receiver channel for these commands, and you have ownership over this input-output resource. Let's say some network socket, some file system operation, and so on. Tapos on the right, some actor handle that's actually the sender of commands to that specific place. Cool thing is, kung gumamit ka ng MPSC channel dito, suddenly now you have the power to clone yung actor handle mo across multiple threads, and you can actually command the actor to do many things from multiple threads. So that's, you can imagine that's like a way to do a lot of players talking to the same game server. Okay, so how would that look like? Kanwari meron tayong struct message dito. We have the request, which is your payload, and then we're going to send them some kind of one-shot sender from to which they will send the response back to us. So in code, it kind of looks like this. So we're not going to look at the whole thing. We're going to look at the first part first, where we're going to create an MPSC channel for all the messages that are incoming. And then yung gagawin natin is we're going to spawn a worker actor that's going to loop through all of these requests, and we're going to send +1 back to the caller. That's it. Yun ang yung trabaho ng worker. A very simple actor. And then back to the main worker, like back to the main thread, ang gagawin natin is we're going to create a one-shot channel here, and then we're going to send the message with some 0 and yung sender half ng ating one-shot channel. And that's it. So for us to receive the response, we just have to say rx.await. And we're going to assert na 1 yan kasi nag-increment lang siya. The convenient thing here is though, kapag dinrop na natin yung requestor, and I've highlighted it in red for you to see na that's the same requestor that we've been using all throughout, this is a way to signal to the worker actor that no more jobs remaining for this queue. And yung gagawin lang natin at that point is to just like tear down the worker. So babalikan natin dito sa taas, yung loop na yan will just stop running, and it's going to gracefully shut down. So this kind of synchronization primitive where you can drop channels in and out is one way to synchronize state in your game protocol, and a very useful thing to consider when you're going to build your own game server. So that pretty much wraps up yung buong actor model talk. And I wanted to show you guys like a demo of how that would work in an actual mini game server. So we're going to play a game. This game is called Zip Zap Zop. Okay, so madali lang yan. Usually the way we play it is a whole bunch of players are arranged in a circle. Tapos yung first player, trabaho niya lang is to clap and point to a person. Zip! Tapos ang trabaho ng person is going to point back to somebody, tapos respond with zap, and then zop. So syempre, kapag mali ang sinabi mo, you get eliminated, or if you take too long, you're going to get eliminated. Yun lang yun. Zip, zap, zop, paulit-ulit lang. So you can imagine we can like have a game server for this kind of simple logic. Okay. So here's the GitHub repository for itself, pero babalikan kayo mamaya. Here's the actual deployment at zipzapzop.fly.dev. So let's just do a quick game. Unfortunately, parang hindi ko pwedeng i-share screen yung game right now. Pero if you visit the site right now, you have 3 buttons there. Yung create lobby, join lobby, and help. I suggest everyone looks into the help page muna so you have an idea on how the control scheme works. Pero once we're there, I'm going to create a lobby, tapos let's call it Rust. Tapos I'm going to create a new player called Basti. And then, yung trabaho nyo guys is to go join the lobby with an ID of 0. Yung ID niya lang, 0. So let me know once everyone's in, and then put in whatever name you want, but please keep it professional. The next time I've held this talk, medyo maraming mga bad stuff na nalagay doon. So please keep PG. Okay, so I'm seeing people go into here. Glad to know that the Rust server still works. So what a relief. Okay, so I'm about to begin the game. Is everyone still in or ready? Ready? Okay, so zip, zap, zop. Let's go. Sorry, medyo tahimik lang to, pero... Oh, shoot, okay, so ako yung una. So, let's throw it to this guy. This is kind of funny in the stream kasi hindi niya nakikita, unfortunately. So, that you should attend face-to-face, by the way, so you can experience this kind of fun, di ba? So, unfortunately, na-eliminate si... Okay, so it's never mind, it's my turn. Zip daw, sabi sa akin, so I'm going to respond with zap. I'm going to drag it to the user who's next. Okay, so medyo maraming tao pala dito. Oh, okay, wait. Zip. Ano ba susunod sa Zip? Okay, Zap. Right. Okay. Pero ako nalimutan ko yun yung game, ano? So, eventually, yung timer na to, bibilis to ng bibilis. Okay. Kayo, grabe kayo. Habang nagsasalita ako, ako yung pinipili ninyo. That's really dirty. Okay, sige. Grabe kayo. Okay, I'm really sorry to the people at the live stream right now, pero hindi niya to nakikita. But, it's working really well, to say the least. So, great. We're down to our last 13 people dun sa lobby. Na-eliminate na si JB, unfortunately. Next turn natin si DJ. Nag-zip daw. Unfortunately, eliminate din siya. Nag-zip daw to Victor. Nag-zap to Jelly. Nag-zop to Efas. Sino si Efas? So, nag-random tayo kay Victor. Zop daw. Player W. Zip daw kay Victor, eliminate din siya. So, pakunti na tayo ng konti, fortunately. Daw to Allen. Who's Allen? Okay, na-eliminate na si Allen. Last 6 people. Ay, na-eliminate na pala ako. Kaya pala hindi ako na, ano. Oh. Okay. Alright. So, okay, next, si Victor. Zip daw. Zap daw to Jelly. Sorry, I'm just narrating it for the benefit of the people. Wala dito ngayon. Zop to Joe. We're down to our last 5 people. Last 4 people. Zop to Victor. Zip to Fiji. Zap to Jelly. Zop to Squeak. Zip to Jelly. Zap to Fiji. Zop to Jelly. Zip to Fiji. Grabe pa. Talagang papausapin niya ako dito. Nakakapagod naman niya. Okay. Guys, matalo na kayo, please. Come on. We're still in our last 4 people. Masyado niyong sineryoso yung game. Last 3. Fine. Okay. We're down to our last 3 people, by the way. Nag-speedrun na sila. And if you notice, the game was kind of designed na malayo yung players from where you drag the controls. Kasi ibig sabihin nun, habang pakonte yung mga players, parang mas nagiging yung kailangan mong i-drag. Which makes it a little bit more difficult as time gets shorter. Last 2 people, it's Victor versus Squeak. Wow. Galing ah. Masyado kayo magaling sa zip, zap, zop. Okay, so we're going to let them do their thing, no? So anyway, what did we learn from this talk? Babalikan ko, i-congratulate ko personally kung sino nanalo dyan. So, recap, what we learned. We learned the performance constraints of a web server and how it's different from a game server. We learned how a future is essentially a state machine under the hood. Oh, sorry, breaking news. Congratulations to Squeak. Sino yung si Squeak dito? Congratulations to you, my man. Okay, so, I'm glad that worked, by the way. Well, rule number 1 daw sa mga presenters, never do a live demo. We're here to prove them wrong. So, power of Rust, di ba? So, anyway, we also learned that the future is essentially just a state machine, and the fact that it's a state machine lets us pause the execution at await points throughout the function, and that lets Tokyo, which is multi-threaded work-stealing runtime, for us to be able to run as many actions in parallel and concurrently as much as possible. And then, syempre, we learned that the architecture makes all of this possible and all of this ergonomic, which is the actor model, and we also have message passing with Tokyo channels. So that said, no, thank you to everyone for listening. And before I guess I close off, would like a few people lang. Thank you for Jelly for helping us out with the slides here, and I would personally thank Christian na rin for inviting me all those months ago for this talk. And syempre the organizers and for their work on the marketing of this event and the media. So kanari mga is natin sa likod dyan handling the live stream, a very often thankless work that they do. And syempre yung mga sponsors natin for their support and backing for this event. And syempre I want to thank you as well for your attention. So with that said, no, Okay, guys.
Grabe yun, Sebastian. Sip, sap. So, sino po yung nanalo? Sino po yung nanalo? Congratulations. Meron ba daw siyang token, sir? Joke lang, joke lang. So, yun, grabe yung pinakita mo about sa Rust, about gaming, no? May pinakita pa siyang sip, sap. So, and congratulations sa nanalo. Sila bahala sa'yo. Ayan. Wait bago ka upo, we would like to appreciate you sa pag-speak sa amin. And I would like to call our sponsor representation, Mark Cabale, for presenting.
Thank you. Other hand, right.
Ayan,
there we
certification
go.
appreciation to Sebastian in recognition of your invaluable contribution as a speaker at Rust Archipelago Breakout held on February 22,
Sana hindi
2025
baliktad.
at Tier 1 Entertainment Headquarters, Quezon City. Your insight presentation on Rust blockchain has greatly enriched our audience and contributed to the success of this event. Thank you so much, Sebastian. Till next time, Sana may next time pa. Thank you. Alright, sinong medyo nahilo ba sa presentation niya? Or mas na-energize? Kasi
I'll just head back.
ito pala ang opportunity ng Rust. Sobrang laki pala. Ito ang server. Ito pala ang blockchain. Ito pala ang smart contract. At meron pa tayo, don't worry, kasi pupunta tayo sa development. Pero bago lahat ng yon, we can take a break, grab some food. We can also health check sa CR natin. And while we are on the break, we will go to raffle time. And this time, dalawa po ang mananalo ng limited swag shirt from Rust Archipelago. We can share our raffle spinning name. Ayan yung raffle spinning name po natin. Ayan. Dahil once nakita niyo yung name niyo dito na lumabas, taas lang natin ang kamay natin at kukunin natin yung shirts at the back. So, let's go na ba? In 3, 2, 1, go! Sino to? Op! Alright! Lisa, get ka! Taas po yung, ayun! You can get your swag shirt sa likod. And may isa pa! Another one! Let's go! And 1, 2, 3, roll! Dun, 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 dun. Op! Alright! Oy! Ayan na! Angelique Ann Valdez! Taas natin ang kamay. Wala po. In 3. Andyan po ba siya? 2. At dahil wala siya, another pa. Let's go! Yun o, sino to? 3, 2, 1. Alright! Michael Chanko! Taas, yun! You can get your swag shirt at the back. And, oh sorry, may nalaglag. Ayan, we will get back at you at 8 minutes or 10. And i-ready nyo na yung self ninyo kasi ito, sulitin nyo na yung last speaker natin. This guy is so great pagdating sa development. And see you in the beat, guys. Bye-bye!
Hello. Okay na ba? Nice.
The gaming industry is broken. Game creators have always faced barriers, limited control, resources, and technology. Existing systems often suffocate innovation and give little to no chance of success for the majority of indie studios. But what if games could be more? Imagine a world where players shape gameplay, expand universes, and mod new elements, creating immersive experiences. Autonomous worlds make that possible. Yet challenges remain, limiting innovation and growth. Sovereign breaks down these barriers, unlocking limitless game experiences, where anyone can create, modify, and evolve games without constraints. Infinite scalability, infinite possibilities. Build with Sovereign. The gaming industry is broken. Game creators have always faced barriers, limited control, resources, and technology. Existing systems often suffocate innovation and give little to no chance of success for the majority of indie studios. But what if games could be more? Imagine a world where players shape gameplay, expand universes, and mod new elements, creating immersive experiences. Autonomous worlds make that possible. Yet challenges remain, limiting innovation and growth. Sovereign breaks down these barriers, unlocking limitless game experiences, where anyone can create, modify, and evolve games without constraints. Infinite scalability, infinite possibilities. Build with Sovereign. The gaming industry is broken. Game creators have always faced barriers, limited control, resources, and technology. Existing systems often suffocate innovation and give little to no chance of success for the majority of indie studios. But what if games could be more? Imagine a world where players shape gameplay, expand universes, and mod new elements, creating immersive experiences. Autonomous worlds make that possible. Yet, challenges remain, limiting innovation and growth. Sovereign breaks down these barriers, unlocking limitless game experiences, where anyone can create, modify, and evolve games without constraints. Infinite scalability, infinite possibilities. Build with Sovereign.
Hello, hello. 1, 2. Okay, I think working na. Hello? Okay.
Alright, everyone. I hope
Hello.
nakapag-settle
Okay
down
na
na
ba?
tayo and nakagrab na tayo ng food at the back and naka-CR because we're about to start. You
Okay.
can find your seat now.
Okay na ba ito? Hello?
Ayan, we're about to start in 20 seconds. Alright, okay na ba tayong lahat? Say okay. 1, 2, 3. Yung wala pa. So, hintayin pa natin ng konti na lang. Mag-i-start na tayo. Kasi itong last speaker natin, exciting yung ano niya, yung topic niya. Alright, we are back again. And ready na ba kayo for AR Magic? Because our speaker is a computer engineering student all the way from Cebu. Yes, from Cebu pa po, na lumipad papunta dito last 2 days ago. Akalain nyo yun? Pinuntahan tayo ng Cebu para lamang pumarinig natin kung ano bang meron kay Rust for development. And siya ay isang software engineering at AR Data Technologies and AI Lab IT solution, developing robust application across mobile, desktop, and web platform with 4 years experience in PHP and JavaScript and 2 years experience in personal exploration with Rust. Are you ready? And now, let's welcome DJ Almaty! Woo!
Excuse me, pwede pa remote? Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. So my name is Danjel. I'll start with introducing myself. What? Working by? Oh, okay. Uy, okay. So my name is Danjel Almaden, and you can call me DJ. That's my nickname. And I'm still actually a computer engineering student back in Cebu. But on the sideline, I'm working at tech companies as a web developer. So of all the years I've been working, I've always done, what do you call this? Brain rotting, di ba? So I'm just sitting at my couch, scrolling on YouTube, and then that's me. So doesn't look like me. I just got this from Google. But as you can see, I'm just here laying on the couch, scrolling through YouTube, and then I've encountered this video called, I don't know the exact title, but it says Rust Programming Language Blazingly Fast. Okay, blazingly fast. I was curious, so of course, I clicked the video and then I watched it. And then that started a rabbit hole. So I've grabbed the Rust book. You can actually search it on Google. They have a very good documentation on Rust. It's very comprehensive. It's very easy to understand. I myself, I haven't finished it, pero because of it, I've been able to create software on web, both in front end and back end actually. So I've discovered that Rust isn't only a very common language, no, like PHP and JavaScript, no. So over the past years, I've been working with PHP, JavaScript, frameworks like WordPress, Nest.js, front end Next.js, and React. And then one thing I've noticed, one thing that really annoys me, who here already has experience creating like a very simple web API or like front end lang? Front end, diba? One thing that really annoys you is the runtime errors, diba? You can see all the time when you run your server, it's gonna say undefined. What the hell is undefined, diba? So when I discovered Rust, it actually solves that problem. It doesn't introduce runtime errors, which gives the errors at runtime. That's really bad because the clients or at production, they're gonna see the error and then they're gonna complain to you, diba? What's happening here? Like, what are you doing, diba? So it's very important na it's very important for me to learn Rust as well as a developer because it taught me how to program efficiently and memory safe. I myself, I'm self-taught and I really don't know much about the low-level languages aside from the schools and C and C++. So learning Rust was really hard for me because it has a very steep learning curve, diba? So it's very common. The phrase is very common. Very steep learning curve. Well, what does that mean? It means it's kind of a different concept from your normal programming languages like Python, JavaScript, they're very straightforward, diba? And as Sir Christian said, na Rust, the adjective he said is your hot-headed buddy. Ano, what does that mean? What does it mean for Rust to be your hot-headed buddy? Diba? I think someone over there said that it keeps on complaining. So that's a very common experience when developing in Rust. The Rust compiler complains, 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 and complains. That's why when you develop with it, it's gonna be a headache. It's gonna be hard. Pero, at the end, when it works, it really works. It's very safe. When it works, you're gonna make sure na your API is gonna be very performant. So why Rust? Of course, I've already mentioned the memory safety. And then it also promises low-level performance with high-level features. What does that mean? That means they're promising an experience, promises an experience that JavaScript provides, but it also promises the performance of low-level languages like C and C++. So, of course, you're going to be very skeptical. How is that possible? No? How can you achieve memory safety with high-level features and low-level performance? Well, it's all possible in Rust. So, when I started with Rust, I was exploring the web ecosystem. It's very interesting that they have this. This logo is for the cargo. It's for the cargo tool in Rust. What is it? Is anybody familiar with NPM? NPM? The Node Package Manager, diba? It's very convenient. When you want a dependency, you're just gonna type in the CLI, diba? NPM install whatever package you want. If you want a package that verifies if a number is even or not, there's gonna be a package for it in JavaScript. So I was surprised, low-level language, but it has a package manager like Cargo. So I've experimented with it, and it's very, very convenient. Honestly, this is one of the things that I really like about developing in the web using the Rust programming language. Why? Because you have your dependencies. Me, I don't want to reinvent the wheel, diba? It's very time-consuming, and if the client wants more from you with less time, of course, you're gonna install some dependencies. So it's very convenient. You're just gonna define all of your packages in one file, and it's gonna install them for you, and you can use it on your entire project. And then next one is Tokyo. Sir Basti over here has already discussed Tokyo. It's an async runtime. Very, very similar to JavaScript as well. So migrating from JavaScript to Rust is very easy, you know? So I hope it's very promising, and I hope it's very encouraging for you JavaScript developers to. And then, for the last one, Axum. Axum is a web framework for developing back-end APIs. So it's kind of like the same as Nest.js, is Express.js. If you have experience developing with that, so it's kind of like the same thing as well. It's very, very clean as well. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's create a web API. So, diba, some of you here have already experienced creating a web API. So there's there's steps, diba, in creating a web API. First, you have to install, or if there's a boilerplate, you can just run a simple CLI command, and it's gonna run a script, and then it will set everything up for you so that it's plug and play, diba? So let's create here Cargo new Rust API. So what does this mean? It's basically npm init. If you've ever experienced npm init, it's sort of like the same thing. It's gonna provide you with a package JSON in JavaScript, and in Rust, it's gonna give you cargo.toml. It's very similar to package.json. It's you just define all of your packages there, and it's going to install it for you. So you CD to the Rust API, you navigate to it, and then, of course, after importing, well, not importing, of course, after defining all of your packages and installing it, use them. So as you can see here, diba? If you've ever experienced JavaScript development, it's very similar as importing your packages. It's very convenient. So, okay, let's create a handler function. So our web API here is going to return a very simple string, an HTTP request, and then it's going to return hello world. So let's create a function, diba? It's an async function of hello world. It doesn't need to be async, but let's just imagine that there's processes here that requires time. And then it's going to return a string. And then this is a very simple example of starting a web server in Axum. So first, you have your main function, and then you're going to create your routes over there. So that is your entry point. So if you can see here, the slash over there, if you're going to navigate to the localhost 3000 or whatever domain you pointed to, it's going to get the hello world handler function here. Okay, so does anybody know, like, just give me 4 examples of the HTTP requests na types. Does anybody know? Sige, get. One more. Put. Sige, one more. Post. Sige, one more. Ano ba? Delete. Okay, one more. Let's make 5. Patch. Wow, so amazing. So everybody here already knows that naman de. So that's very, very encouraging for me. So let's create our socket address over here. This function basically does that. And then we're gonna create a listener at the Tokyo runtime. And then we start the Axum server. It's just that simple. It's only a couple of lines. And this is very simple, no? And then when we cargo run, it's the same thing as npm start or npm run dev. When we run it, it's gonna create a server for you so that you can test your endpoints on it. So let's test it, diba? So for the localhost 3000, diba, yung get function, and then as you can see here, it's not really readable, no? But it returns the hello world string that we have defined in the function. It's very simple. And you're also gonna be wondering, no? If you're gonna create a very big application, what are the routes gonna look like? If you've ever experienced Laravel, if you've ever experienced other frameworks, it's gonna look exactly the same like this. Diba? You're gonna define all of your routes into one function, and then you can use that in your server. Next. So one thing that is always repeating, no? One word that is always repeating on the Rust development and the Rust programming language is safety. Well, how does it achieve that? Because it forces you to handle edge cases at compile time. Now, what does that mean? Diba, I've told you that Rust always complains. It's very hard to develop, but once you're done, it's gonna handle all of the edge cases. Sir Christian termed it as exhaustive. So if you're gonna define an enum, if you're gonna use that enum, you have to exhaust all of the values on it. Okay, let's compare it to JavaScript. So you have this function, getGreeting. It's gonna return hello user.name .to uppercase. Now I have a question. Is this memory safe, or will this introduce any runtime errors? It's yes, why? Oh, wow, that's amazing. Yes, if name is undefined. So if name is undefined, it's gonna return undefined. It's gonna return an error. Diba? A runtime error. That's very bad. I hate runtime errors, diba? Because it's gonna introduce those errors to your clients. That's very bad. Now let's convert that to Rust. So you have a user over here, and then it's an optional string. What does that mean? The string can be undefined or not. It's not really undefined in Rust. pero let's just use that terminology because we're comparing it to JavaScript. So you have this get greeting over here, and diba, you can see the two uppercase is red. Why? Because the type is option string. So if it's option string, name is going to have a case where it's going to be undefined or doesn't have any value. So if that's going to be the case, two uppercase is not going to compile. It's going to compile again. Why? Because option string doesn't have a method to uppercase. So essentially, we have to unwrap that, or we're going to use something called match that basically matches all of the cases of option string. So this is for the Rust code as well. We've converted our code to handle some or none. Some meaning it's gonna have a value, and none, well, of course, none. So it's kind of like a switch case, but you should handle every case, diba? So if user is gonna be there, it's gonna return to the name, and then if none, call back test. But one thing, who is using Rust, diba? It's always promises low-level performance with high-level experience features. But who is actually using Rust? Why is it so popular? These are some of the companies that are actually slowly migrating to Rust, or exclusively using Rust. First of all, let's start with Firefox. Actually, Firefox here is the Rust programming language originates from Rust. It's kind of it was a personal project from one of their employees, and then Firefox said, "Okay, we're gonna fund you, and then we're gonna make it into this very big project." Then the next, AWS Firecracker for their micro VMs, and also Discord. Now, Discord, it's very interesting because they were already using a very performant language called Go. And then they migrated from Go to Rust. Okay, why is that? No? Why did they migrate from Go to Rust? It's because Go has a garbage collector. And then when you're handling millions and millions of requests, it's gonna cause some performance issues. Now, Rust doesn't have a garbage collector. It handles memory safety at compile time. So because of that, when they migrated to Rust, everything was more performant, more efficient. And then the next one, TurboPack. If you're familiar with Webpack, it's kind of like the same thing, but it uses Rust. Now, they have this crazy numbers on their website. You can check. If you check their website, the TurboPack, it had like 1,000 times more performant than Webpack, which was using JavaScript. Now they're using Rust-based tooling for JavaScript, and it's very fast. I also experienced it myself. TurboPack is very, very fast. Now, of course, Solana. If you're very familiar with blockchain engineering, Solana uses exclusively Rust. Well, not really exclusively, but their very low-level functions use Rust. Now, next is Cloudflare. Cloudflare, who knows Cloudflare here, diba? When you enter a website, it's gonna show you Cloudflare, but what does it actually mean? Or what do they actually do? Well, Cloudflare, it enables users to have DDoS protection on their website. So all those malicious hackers, they're gonna have Cloudflare. You can ensure that there's gonna be some DDoS protection. I've also experienced it myself. I made a website, and then there was like these Russian hackers trying to attack it because it was really popular. All I did was just install Cloudflare. Everything was gone. So Cloudflare was using Rust entirely for the DDoS detection. All of these companies and others who are migrating to Rust should be evidence for us also to learn Rust. If you want to if you want to work in large companies, if you want to work with these companies, or if you're very passionate about programming and you're very interested in how Rust works, I encourage you to study. It's very simple. You can read their documentation. I haven't finished it yet, but it's slow, diba? Pero eventually we'll get there. It'll get very complicated in the end. As Sir Christian also said, it's not really, the steep curve is not that, it's that, diba? Along the way, you're gonna discover some concepts that's really hard to wrap your mind around, but once you get used to it, no, it's very worth it. Okay, so that's all for me. Thank you, everyone.
Ayan, thank you, Dan. Grabe yung nabigay mong information about web dev. Sino ba dito yung mga curious about, lalo na may mga interns tayo, sino curious po sa inyo about web dev? Ayun. Ayun, meron tayong isa. No, kung gusto mo gamitin si Rust programming language, si Dan ang bahala. Si DJ ang bahala sa'yo. Alright.
Yep.
And thank you so much. Kasi hindi namin alam na si Discord pala, Solana and Cloudflare, gumagamit pala ng Rust.
Yes.
And siguro isa dun sa point na yun kasi safety nga eh. So sobrang halaga ng safety when it comes to you're doing a web. No? And lalo na sobrang daming ng attackers, mas lalong tumatalino sila, lalo na may power of AI. And before you go, we would like to appreciate you and give you a little token of appreciation. Yan, let's welcome Mark Cabale.
Say sure.
This appreciation is just to appreciate you being a speaker here at our Rust Archipelago Breakout, the Philippines' first Grassroots Rust conference. Thank you for your knowledgeable insight, DJ. Thank you so much. And before you go, we would like also to call on our two speakers, si Christian and si Sebastian here. And while doing here, mag-fix lang kami ng chair. Ayan. I-fix lang po natin ang mga tech natin ng chair dito para for our Q&A. So while doing that, you can ready your question po sa ating mga speaker. Oy, thank you, Christian. Iba ka. Isa ka ng Rust developer, isa ka pang ano. Okay. Thank you, Mark. Ayan. We would like to call Sebastian. Ayan. And also, gigift natin sila ng mga mics.
Ay, okay. Sure.
Tanggalin lang natin yung lapel. Ay, hindi ako marunong. Ay.
Thank you. Sure.
Ayan, buhay pa ba tayo? Para i-sure natin buhay pa tayo, palakpakan po natin ang 3 speakers sa harapan. Ayan. Ano kaya yung pinaka-favorite nyo? Si Black Jane ba? Gaming o web dev? And kanina may nakausap ako. Medyo curious na siya about sa mga topic nila kanina. And we would like to open this session as a Q&A. And meron tayong naka-ready mic, no, para sa mga tanong natin. Who would like to go first? Ayun. Sige. Name po ninyo? And ano po kayo? Anong work or nag-study po? Work po or nag-study po?
Good afternoon or evening na.
Yes po.
Okay, good afternoon. So my name is Windel.
Windel. Hello, nice to meet you,
I work
Windel.
as a software developer for US companies sa
Wow.
back-end. Question lang kasi I recently started to read documentations and have some basic knowledge, as in super basic lang like yung didiscuss ni DJ. Yung pag sinabing exhaustive or yung galit lagi, does that include dun sa pag nag-test coverage kayo with the Rust? Kasi yun yung from a software perspective kasi diba test are tawag dito are important, pero kasi yung nakikita kong based sa explanation, exhaustive lang siya in terms of logic. How about for that test? Gusto ko lang malaman kasi.
Yeah. So, great question. Your question is, in Rust, what parts are exactly
exhaustive and what parts are not? And if for tests, are they exhaustive? So for tests specifically, it's subjective. So if you guys do software development, we have this thing called test coverage. It means how much of your code is covered with a test. That means it has a test that you can run and check if it's working. In Rust, it's not opinionated on the coverage of your test. What it's opinionated on is, you're right, logic. There are some constructs in Rust, such as an enum, that you can check for the value of an enum that Rust requires you to be exhaustive, meaning cover all possible inputs. So between those two, those are the boundaries.
Also, I want to add, diba you said something about tests. For me, when we're talking about exhaustive, the tests is actually the compiler. So diba, when you write your code and it's not exhaustive, it won't even compile. It's not like JavaScript na even if it has errors, it's gonna compile. It's gonna have runtime errors. It doesn't even compile. So for me, when we're dealing about exhaustive, yung tests is basically the compiler complaining at you. Yun.
I would like to add, sorry, nakabox ba to? I'd also like to add to that na rin, na kung sakaling meron kang test cases that you want to try exhaustively across different kinds of values, there are crates out there that help you out with that kind of use case. Kanwari si prop test. If you've heard of property-based testing, siya na yung bahala sa pag-generate ng different kinds of wacky inputs. If you're familiar with the terms fuzzy testing, kanwari yung pag-vary ng mga bytes that you pass into this arbitrary function that you have, you can assert certain things about yung behavior niya. And that's pretty much how you could try exhaustively testing out different forms of input, kanwari between 0 to 100, and kung kanwari yung form ng string mo should start with some specific number of characters, any kind of property-based testing. So you can try exploring that as well, the prop test crate.
Ayan, I hope nasagot po. Nasagot po ba ang tanong? O may follow-up pa po kayo? Wala na. Ayan, thank you sa pag-question about sa test natin. Next naman po, sino po may question pa? Hello po, Sir Albert. Name niyo po and work and industry.
Hello, I'm Albert. So, I'm a technical director at Coding Jury. So, ang question ko, guys, since we're talking about Rust, right, for creating smart contracts. So, basically, it's used for like Solana, Polkadot, and their protocol, right? So, what if I'm interested in creating smart contracts for Ethereum? So, I think the language there should be Solidity, right? Or is it possible to use Rust on an Ethereum blockchain?
Great question. So how it works technically is you can use any language, because if you write a certain program in this language, you compile it to what we call a bytecode, right? And then whatever language you use, you can compile this into a certain bytecode. And the Ethereum network would run it the same way, regardless of your input language, because it compiles and converts into the same input, which is the bytecode. Now, your question is, number one, I'll answer it in possibility. Is it possible to use Rust to build smart contracts for Ethereum? The question is yes, it's possible. Use Rust, compile it to the bytecode, then the Ethereum network would run it on its own. The second question, I think the underlying there is that, would I use it right now? My answer to that is no, because Ethereum supports Solidity mainly as the language. So the difficulty of using Rust is that you need to reinvent all of the tooling that Solidity has and currently supports by the community, because it's not as common to use Rust for Ethereum. Right, so recap, number one, yes, you can use it because it compiles to a bytecode. And then number two, I don't recommend it, especially for beginners, because the ecosystem don't openly, at least as common as Solidity, support it.
All right. Nasagot po ba, Sir Albert? Thank you so much po. Last two questions. Sino pa po? Ayan. Name nyo lang and industry.
Hello, I'm Jerry. I'm a data engineer. So So as a data engineer, I'm working mostly with Python and data. And my question is since Python is used for data, like there are built-in libraries for data like Pandas, PySpark for distributed. Is there an equivalent version in Rust, or how is Rust in the data industry right now?
Yes, you're very lucky with that kasi recently there's been a surge in popularity for the Polar Scrape. So if you've heard of it, it's essentially a data frame library, much like Pandas, but it's written in Rust. And so you essentially have this like multiplied performance improvement simply by being able to SIMD these instructions and do them in parallel thanks to Rayon, right? So yeah, essentially, yes.
It means a lot of opportunity for him. Wow.
The good thing about this is there's not a big push for it right now who's leading the charge in the Philippines of using Rust mainly for data engineering. So that can be something you can leverage as an opportunity. If data engineering is something you're very passionate about, definitely use that so you can get attention, market yourself as a Rust data engineering specialist.
Wow, amazing. Congratulations sa inyo. Mukhang maraming opportunity when it comes to data sa Rust, no? So, sa mga tao, go for data, eto na to. Alright, last question. Alright, name na lang and industry po.
Hello po, everyone. My name is Aryan Dave. I'm from BMPI IT. We're the company that holds UNTV, the broadcast company, and Wish 1075. So, my question is, I actually wrote it down. How can Rust be used to develop more secure systems software? So, as working in the broadcast industry, we use low-level languages such as C++ and integrate it with modern web technologies using Electron. So we use it to make use of NDI technologies. No, so I'm thinking about using Rust in continuing to develop this system. But as a student focusing in cybersecurity, how can Rust be used to develop these systems more securely? How can Rust be trust these security measures, bro? And thank you.
Okay, so when it comes to cybersecurity, Rust is very good for that because it's very hard to provide the correct input for Rust. It's not like other languages na parang you can input any sort of data. Also, when we're comparing low-level languages like Rust with C and other C languages, the good thing about Rust is you don't have to allocate the memory. So it prevents also data races. It prevents memory leaks. So those two are very good things when we're dealing with production code. And also, as we've talked about kanina, yung exhaustive din. So you have to handle all of the cases. So yeah, that's that.
Ayan, I hope na-answer yung question nyo. We have a last magtatanong. Yes po.
Yes. Hello. So I'm Carl, college instructor. So related sa programming. And I've seen kasi that it says, okay, Rust is memory safe, type safe. So that includes probably null safety, right? And so on. So I'm interested if you have any experience with trying to create embedded programs, so IoT and so on in Rust. Kasi I've seen that, okay, so it's memory safe. So, and we all know constraint systems, ang IoT or other embedded system, for example. And in addition to that, of course, they're not like because of the constraint systems, so it's not that secure, for example, because you have to trade off security for kung kakasya ba sa memory, for example, yung programs that, or even the most rudimentary programs that you need for these specific memory constrained devices. So I want to know if you had any experiences when doing that. So, yan.
Right, so I'm glad you asked though, kasi as part of my course sa computer science noon, we were undergoing through this IoT Cup. So parang imagine it's like a Internet of Things kind of competition between different students. And the technology that we chose for that was actually Rust on the ESP32. So essentially, yung device namin noon, we were supposed to detect leaks whenever they happen in a pipe. And yung ginagamit naming language for that when we compile it and when we load it into the ESP32 was Rust itself. Kasi yun nga, as Christian mentioned earlier, as long as you can compile it down to the machine code that the ESP32 board expects, it doesn't matter what language it came from. We just happened to be using Rust because we didn't want to deal with all sorts of race conditions that you would have. Let's say kung nag-Arduino ka lang, for example, they don't really guard you against these kinds of problems na meron kang data races between your very sensitive sensors and yung parang interrupt code that's very sensitive to not getting the mutexes right. No? So definitely we went with Rust for that, simply for that reason. We don't want to deal with these data races, and it worked out pretty well for us. I think we had like second runner-up dun sa entire competition na yun. So yeah, so definitely there's an ecosystem for that. The Rust website would actually claim that they have first-class support for this community. So if you want to get started with embedded systems in Rust, it's definitely one of the priority communities that they have.
Wow, ang ganda ng question mo, sir, no? And ang ganda lang marinig na may prof dito, may estudyante, may data analytics, merong mga high position pa na related talaga sa ating ano. So, maraming input and question na kung saan good opportunity na okay, ito pala yung meron pang opportunity si Ras. And yun, thank you DJ, Sebastian, and Christian for having us in the QA session. Alam ko napakarami pa po ninyong tanong, pero we will end this Q&A. But first, let's take picture lang po. Ay, yes po. Iyan. Tayo po. Iyan, thank you. Ayan, closer lang. Ayan! Ay, kasama po ako. Ay, sige po. Thank you so much po. And, ayun na po, dun po tayo nagtatapos. And I would like to, yes, you can take a seat na po. And I was just gonna call our, mag-provide ng closing remarks po natin na si, wait lang po. Ayan. This person na to is a passionate, versatile tech leader with intensive experience with web development, community building, and startup consulting. A founder of Filipino Web Development Peers, FWDP, a thriving tech community in nearly 15,000 member, proven track record in leading development teams, spearheading innovative project, and mentoring aspirants developer. Notable roles include COO in 1010's Academy Online Tutorial, co-founder in Genie Works, a digital VA marketing agency, a CTO at Plant-Backed Innovation, and a mind-level development at iPyTech IT and digital consultant. Demonstrate ability to align technical and business strategy, manage large-scale community initiative, and deliver impactful digital solution. Recently become part of PH100, which lists 100 billion mine in Philippines under 30. Also, was one of the IPPs of recently concluded Tech Manila show. And let's welcome Engineer Pede Glorio. Ayan, let's welcome Engineer Pede Glorio.
Hello, mic test. So, good afternoon, everyone. So, on behalf of Filipino Web Development Peers, it's an honor to stand here today, wrapping up an incredible Rust Archipelago event. This partnership is more than just about sharing technical knowledge. It's about building a bridge between communities, empowering developers, and pushing the boundaries of what we can create with Rust. So we've seen brilliant ideas spark, connections formed, and a collective drive to innovate and inspire. So let this be a reminder that the strength of our work doesn't lie in the code alone, but in the collaboration and passion that we bring to it. So as we move forward, I hope that today's learnings inspire you to keep experimenting, keep building, and keep growing. both individually and as a community. So thank you once again to Rust Archipelago, kina Christian Kirapas, ayan, kina Ma'am Melissa. And of course, sa lahat ng mga nakausap ko today for this event, ayan, so, and to everyone here for making this event a success. Let's continue to build not just systems, not just our ideas, but relationships that push tech forward. So, mabuhay tayong lahat at hanggang sa susunod na event. So, kita-kits ulit sa mga susunod na Rust Archipelago meetups. So, thank you guys and congrats.
So much po ha. Thank you so much.
you
We
po.
appreciate. And dito po muna po kayo kasi we would like to appreciate you po, no? And let me just call Marco Bale for presenting our appreciation. And this certificate is just to appreciate you being with us in the Rust Archipelago Breakout, the first Philippines Grassroots Rust Conference here at Tier 1, Quezon City, Philippines. Thank you so much po. Alright, thank you so much. Ayan, eto na tayo. Tapos na po. Pero bago yon, we would like to call all of you to take a picture here. Photo op lang po tayo for remembrance kasi we're making history. Kasi po tayo po ulit ang the Philippine First Grassroots Rust Conference. So kauna-unahang conference po ito sa Philippines. So salamat po sa pagpunta. We can go up here po. Yan, we can call you all. Ayan, let's go, let's go. Huwag po tayong mahiya. Let's go, let's go, let's go po. And I just want to like to thank you our sponsors while we're going dito po tayo sa unahan. Ano ba yun? Rust Foundation, Beat Rabbit, AR, Tech, Chain Academy, Sovereign, and our community partner, Outlearn, DevCon, and FWD Peers. Ayan. Ayan, closer lang. Closer po tayo. And dito po sa ilalim, pwede po. Ayan, closer daw po. Baka gusto niyo po dito. Alright, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Ay. Thank you to our amazing speaker for sharing their knowledge and insight. We truly appreciate your contribution to Rust Archipelago Breakout. And that brings us to the end of Rust Archipelago Breakout. Thank you all for being part of the historic event. We hope you leave here inspired, connected, and ready to contribute to growing Rust community in the Philippines. Before we conclude, we would like to and please, and you can follow us us on our Facebook page, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram at Rust Archipelago. And before we leave, you can also grab some snacks pa po and connect with other people. Nice to see you again. See you next time.